Well, this is the last weekend that most kids in Albuquerque have off before they head back to school next week. And many of you may want to know where you can take the kids to have some sledding fun in the snow this weekend.
All right, but as you know, there's a problem with this. We haven't gotten a lot of snow, so is it safe to sled? We sent News 13's David Romero to the East Mountains to go find out.
It's still a winter wonderland heading up to the Sandias, but it's not wide enough for some people to enjoy playing in designated areas.
We have a set of specific criteria that we run through, and we have to meet all those criteria before we decide to open the area or not.
Now, this may be as close as you can get to the Coppoline Snow Play area, but forest rangers say there's still a lot more fun to be had up here.
People are welcome to sled anywhere on the National Forest lands here in the Sandias at their own risk, but outside of those areas that are where sledding is specifically prohibited.
And that's just what we found a little ways down the road. Chris Dyke and his family taking advantage of the snow in a safe area.
I think that if you take the proper precautions with the children and make sure the area is safe, that's fine. I mean, it's always sledding at your own risk, but I think if you're careful, that it's fine.
But it's when people are not careful that you find this. A viewer sent us these pictures from over the New Year's holiday of people parked alongside bad spots on the windy road up to the crest. Rangers remind everyone not to block the road on those dangerous corners. In addition, there are at least 3 other specific spots you can't sled on at any time. Those include the 10K trailhead, the pit near mile marker 5 on Highway 36, and the Tree Springs trailhead.
Otherwise, go out and enjoy the snow, whether you're cross-country skiing or snowshoeing or sledding or just hiking on some of the trails. We would encourage people to do that.
These kids look like they're having an awful lot of fun there, and Ranger Parsons tells us he also wants folks that the Rangers are going to try to have Coppoline Snow Area open to coincide with Christmas vacation for the kids, and it hasn't happened yet. The break is almost over. He says check their website every single day. They'll let you know as soon as they get enough. You can find a link to that attached to this story at KRQE.com. Elizabeth.
In other news this morning, a judge increases the bond on former congressional candidate Gary Smith to $50,000 cash. Smith was arrested last week after police say surveillance video showed him slashing the tires of Janice Arnold Jones, who he ran against for the Republican nomination last year. A judge told him to stay away from her, but on New Year's Day, he allegedly drove by her house. That led to Smith's arrest on Wednesday for stalking. If he bonds out again, he has to stay 2 miles away from Jones. Smith spent a lot of his own money to run for Congress, but was blocked from the ballot after a lawsuit by Jones supporters that they exposed that many of his petition signatures were invalid. Jones later lost the general election. There seems to be a problem with the Smokey Bear hot air balloon. The balloon featuring the iconic New Mexico bear is not sitting well, apparently, with one powerful U.S. senator.
I mean, if we can't stop spending taxpayer dollars on robo-squirrels and dancing robot DJs or hot air balloon rides for Smokey the Bear, then there's no hope at all.
That was Republican Minority Leader Mitch McConnell during a speech to the Senate's opening session yesterday, saying that the balloon was basically a waste of money. In 2005, or since then, the U.S. Forest Service has paid nearly $240 grand to the Smokey Bear balloon to help promote fire safety. Now, the state forestry spokesperson tells us he thinks the balloon pays for itself.
The balloon, much like Smokey Bear himself, is a symbol. And it's a teaching tool. If one person contributes to not causing a human-caused wildfire, then I think it's worth it.
The Smokey Bear balloon has been flying for nearly 20 years. Its total budget is about $200 grand a year, meaning federal tax dollars only pay for about a fifth of it.
With all due respect, Senator McConnell, it is Smokey Bear, not Smokey the Bear. You're probably going to hear that a lot from folks in New Mexico soon. All right, this is not good news this morning. New Mexico in the red when it comes to job numbers. However, Governor Susana Martinez says she has a plan to fix it. She was at this economic summit in Albuquerque yesterday. She talked about how she's going to push the state legislature to bring home more jobs by investing in our infrastructure here, new infrastructure, specifically offering tax incentives for small businesses and lowering the tax rate that businesses pay to the state.
We can bury our heads in the sand and forfeit our fate to Washington politicians? I don't think so. Or we can get to work and level the playing field. level the playing field, and fight harder than ever for jobs that would otherwise land in Texas or Arizona.
Now, this is especially important right now because new numbers show New Mexico is one of just a few states that lost jobs last year, mainly ones with the federal government. Elizabeth?
Could two types of different driver's licenses help deal with the controversial driver's license issue in New Mexico? That's the plan by one powerful state senator. Democrat Pete Campos is working on a bill. He says one type of license would be a little more expensive for citizens, but meet the stricter requirements of the federal Real ID Act. The second type would have fewer requirements and still go to illegal immigrants as well as those who don't want or need a federally approved license. Now, Campos is slated to be the next state Senate president pro tem, by the way. The governor's office says that the plan doesn't address license fraud, though, and that she still plans on challenging driver's licenses for illegal immigrants. The U.S. government is not happy about former Governor Bill Richardson's planned trip to North Korea. Richardson and Google's executive chairman, Eric Schmidt, reportedly will go there soon. The U.S. is currently seeking UN sanctions against part of North Korea for launching a satellite on a three-stage rocket that could be used for military purposes. The State Department says Richardson knows they are not happy about the trip. The New York Times reports that the two may try to win the release of a North Korean or Korean-American man, I should clarify, that has been jailed by the communist government.